Been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda. Is there any discussion on that item? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the approval of the October 9th, 2018 minutes.
Move to approve the minutes of October 9.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes of October 9th, 2018. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the approval of the October 16th, 2018 special council meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve October 16th, 2018 special council meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have authorization to pay bills. Mr. Morak.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move that we pay bills in the amount of $889,802.41.
Second. Second.
Moved and seconded to pay bills in the amount of $889,802.41. Are there any questions on any of the bills?
I guess we're not paying for a bunch of roads right now. We were paid in other months. It looks a lot cheaper this month.
Yeah, most construction season's over, so we'll probably get a few, later ones next month again, Tom, but yes. Okay, please cast your ballots. All voting yes, motion carried. Next, I will open the public hearing on the 2019 budget for the City of New London. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address the budget that has been published in the paper? I will close the public hearing on the budget. Thank you. That one was quick. Okay, next we'll open the public hearing on the amended section 9.46 of the municipal code establishing central garbage for portions of North Water Street. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak to that item? Jim, come on forward.
My name is James Yeager, and I am here representing the New London Veterans Memorial Foundation in regards to the situation. One thing I'd like an answer on something I brought up at the last meeting, and that was that Taft Park at one time was dedicated for veterans purposes. I believe the city administrator responded to the Press Star that they had no record of that. I came back and provided some documentation to the city clerk, the mayor, and the city administrator, and the Press Star. Is that documentation acceptable?
I haven't seen it.
I directed a copy to you, Mr. Mayor.
If you didn't see it, I apologize.
Okay.
There was some reference in a newspaper
Correct.
to a dedication. There was no reference in actual official minutes of the city. In fact, the original park at that time was only approximately 65 feet wide. There was 2 lots. And then there's a road. So if there was a dedication of the park, if there was only something written in the newspaper, nothing official in the minutes was found, it would only, in my mind, apply to the original park.
Okay, can we then get something in the official minutes and authorize that?
That's up to city council.
I think
That's
that,
why I'm here.
well, we couldn't act on that tonight anyway because it's not
Understand.
on the agenda, but I think that that's something that would come through the park board, setting up,
Do you want me to make a formal request through the park board?
I think the park board chairman is here tonight and the Park and Rec department head is here tonight, and I think they will put it on their agenda.
Yeah, you'll need to frame it if you want to do it through Chad a little bit better so we know how to
Sure.
handle it.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, the next thing I'm going to bring up is, you all know we had a protest event at Taft Park on Saturday, and over the last several weeks since the last council meeting, we have had a petition going out and getting the feelings of what the general feelings of the public are okay? We have done that mostly at Festival Foods, but some at the protest meeting we had. We've got over 1,500 signatures on this, okay? And I will say that not all of them are New London citizens, okay, and registered voters, but we do have, but most of these, or 99% of them, support the New London businesses, okay? And the general conception is that most people say it was totally disrespectful of the city even to think of putting a garbage dump there. And if we cannot reach some satisfaction, not only to us, but also to the businesses downtown that affect that, I've been told by 5 of those businesses that they have never got any notification from the city that this thing is going into effect and what the rules are, and they don't know what the heck is going on. And 4 of those people had questions about who's going to pay for the 3 to 4 additional garbage pickups. No answers for that either do we have. But anyway, I'm going to leave these 1,500 signatures with you. What our intention is, we're going to have a meeting next week of our foundation. And if we don't see any hope of getting that central garbage collection moved, our intent is to get a referendum on the next election ballot, that would be April 2nd, and let the voters of New London decide. That's all I have. Who wants these?
City Clerk. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on the issue? Julie?
Thank you, and thank you to the veterans. Appreciate your service. And to Channel 5 for covering this. The other 2 stations I contacted would not cover it and didn't feel it was a priority. And in my mind, it is a priority. When you come into this city, from Highway 15, the welcoming sign in this city says, New London reflecting the pride. And there was nothing about that action to place that dumpster near the memorial that I felt was anything to be proud of. I was very disheartened to be here tonight to have to watch these proud veterans have to defend their beautiful Veterans Memorial. I find it appalling and disgusting that all but one of the council members voted to move forward with the dumpster location in such close proximity to that memorial. In my mind, that is showing so much disrespect for what I and many others consider to be a sacred and precious area. It may be the only names on that wall, but those names represent so much to me in our country. It's why I'm able to sit here and talk to you all and have the freedom of speech. Would there be a dumpster placed in such close proximity to Arlington National Cemetery? I don't think so. Would there be a dumpster placed so close to King? I don't think so. And those aren't just graves there. Those are markers in King also. I sincerely doubt it. I hope moving forward, the dumpster will be taken down and moved elsewhere, an apology given to those that were and are offended. So where should it be placed? Now, a couple weeks ago, there was an article about that empty lot downtown that the city was thinking of purchasing. I don't know if that went through, if right next to the insurance agency, that would be an idea, or just west of where the old Press Star Buyer's Guide was. Could it be placed there? I mean, the issue is with the alley and the dumpsters, right? You want to clean up that area and make it look better. And I know in the past there's been talks about having high school students come and paint or put a mural on the back of those buildings. I mean, there's so many other options to clean up that area. I mean, even if you just took one color of paint and painted the buildings one color, but I think we just need to move forward. Could erect a tall fence there, but I think it's just terribly disrespectful to the veterans. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else wish to speak? Jim, come on up.
My name is Jim Malarkey. I own a couple properties in town. I spent time on the board here, and I agree with the previous speaker. I think she did an eloquent job of putting it forth to you. And if that doesn't tear out your heart, it should. My name is on that wall. My son's name is on that wall. I'm proud that my name is on that wall. I'm proud that my son's name is on that wall. The garbage dumpster does not belong there at all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I guess I've been asked by a gentleman that came down to see me today to kind of go through the whole scenario and whatever. So as long as we're in public hearing, I guess I'll go. Several years ago, with the downtown group of business people that worked very closely with the city and whatever, working on ideas to clean up that back alley and do something with it. The idea came up to have central garbage pickup. We had a meeting where all of the business, not only the property owners, but the business owners and people running the businesses on that block were invited to. They discussed it, we talked the pros and cons and so forth like that, and they decided as a group of business people down there to move forward with that project. Now, some of the businesses may have changed hands since then, and there are new people in there that weren't involved at that time, but that is neither here nor there. Now, when you veterans first approached the city about establishing a Veterans Memorial, the Park Board, I think, you came to the Park Board was very receptive. Looking for possible locations, we came up with several locations. One was along the Berninger River Walk. The city also contacted the property owner over on Mill Street across from Beacon Avenue, where there's a whole half block open. Used to be a gas station in one section of it. That company was willing to donate that land for a Veterans Memorial, where you could have had parking area, you could have had more room than you'd have ever needed for a memorial. You rejected that site. You rejected a couple of other sites that were suggested. You decided you wanted it in Taft Park. Now, I want to remind you, there is a dumpster approximately the same distance away from the memorial that has been there for 20 years, and yet you chose that site. So if garbage is your problem, why did you pick the site where there's been one next to a business there for over 20 years? Okay, I think the city has been more than cooperative during the construction of the site. We had city crews, utility crews help with site, electrical work. The city takes care of mowing the lawn, we trim the weeds, we water the flowers, we pay for the electricity. And our workers during the day who's watering the flowers picks up any junk in that park that happens to be laying around. Yes, there's litter, it's all over the city. But they take care, our city workers take care of that. The dumpsters were built as part of a river wall project to clean up the alley from all the dumpsters located in the alley and prevent any liquids escape from flowing into the river. We located them as unobtrusively as we possibly could down next to Taft Park. Now, we looked at several sites for the dumpsters. We can't put them in the alley, we don't own the land. The business owners own that land. We looked at putting them in the parking stalls next to the copper shot. It would remove, in order to get the dumpsters in there in the same area that we've got right now, constructed right now, would wipe out those parking spots. There wouldn't be any there. We also connected a sloping floor on the dumpster pads with a sanitary sewer drain so that any liquids that might drain out of the garbage are going to go down the sanitary sewer and treated at the sewage plant like it would be. We have tried to make that as unobtrusive as possible. The gentleman that came down to see me said, well, he said, you know, they're not bad, and I didn't even know that they were there until I read something in the newspaper and I had to go down and find them. So they aren't as obvious as some of you seem to think they are. I suggested to him, like I suggested to you a few weeks ago, that perhaps we could plant shrubbery like arborvitaes or some of those neat trees that go up tall and so forth in front of that, which would shield it from the park, make it actually put a pretty decent background in there. And I haven't heard any response to that, whatever, but a number of people I've talked to who are in favor of leaving the dumpsters there, they don't see anything wrong with it, thinks that that's a good idea. Okay, I want to remind you that Taft Park is still a city park. Okay? You came down, you demanded the chamber take their concerts out of the park because you didn't want music played in the park. The chamber, within less than a week of their first concert that summer, had to scramble to find another location for the concerts in the park. The city went ahead and, at our expense, fixed up a sidewalk that was busted up during construction. We've added handicapped stalls in the parking area next to the Copper Shot at your request. And I think the city has been extremely cooperative with this whole project, and I wish you would be also. Like I said, if we find we have problems with that, you were talking about flies and smell and whatever like that. If we have a problem with it, we'll go back to Plan A or try Plan C or whatever plan it happens to be, and we will rectify it. I think we've worked very cooperatively with you people, and we've done our best to make it look. It's a beautiful memorial. It absolutely is. And I think it can be very successful, even with the dumpsters in that spot. So, thank you. I'll call the public hearing on that item closed. No. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Come on up.
Hi, my name's Linda Butler, 10 years active duty Air Force, Gulf War vet. While I was down there walking the sidewalks on Saturday, I noticed the boat ramps down there is full of twigs, wash up from the river. If your people is cleaning that, why is it looking like that? That's an eyesore also.
Oh, I agree, and that can happen. That can happen on a moment's notice with the river rising and lowering.
Like that for over a month.
Oh yeah.
I have pictures to prove it.
Anybody with a dock in town has got the same problem.
Yes, and the docks are mostly pulled out because they gotta be out October 31st, I believe.
They're coming out this Thursday.
Okay, it was just a sore sight. And also, DNR, don't they have something where you can't have garbage so close to the river like that? The
No.
regulations, I know on my private land along the Wolf River, we cannot.
It depends on where you live along the Wolf River. If you live outside the city limits, you're subject to county zoning and some different regulations than you are in the city. We have kind of a unique situation in New London with the stores being backed up to the river. And unfortunately, that's what our forefathers left us with. If I had millions extra to spend, I'd probably tear them all down and move Main Street over, 100 feet to get it away from the river so that we could have green space all the way along the river. That would be the ideal situation, but we're kind of stuck with what,
We have.
Yes.
I understand that.
So-
It's just,
okay, thank you. Okay, that public hearing is closed. Next, we will have a public hearing on section 7.074B of the municipal code to prohibit overnight camping on city parking lots and properties. Is there anybody wish to comment on that item? I will close that public hearing. Next, I will open the public hearing on section 7.071B1 of of the municipal code to limit parking to 4 hours on listed city parking lots. Is there anybody that wishes to speak on that item? If not, we'll close that public hearing. Next, we'll go on to public comment. Is there anybody that wishes to comment on anything that has not been discussed already? Moving forward to standing in special committee, or standing in special committees. Board of Public Works, Mr. Barrington.
Board of Public Works met Monday, November 5th, 2018 at 4:30. First item was wastewater treatment plant updates, which had Ben presented and his information. There were no questions or concerns, so we moved on. The next was to discuss results from recent sewer rate study and consider for action an ordinance to increase the base monthly fixed sewer meter rate from $3 to $4 to go in effect January 1st, 2019. Kyle Benowitz from Baker Tilly presented the summary results from the sewer rate study. The report recommends a $1 monthly base sewer meter rate increase from $3 to $4 per month. Motion made and seconded to recommend to council to approve the approved ordinance, section 13.12, sub 4A, user rate charge of municipal code to increase the base monthly fixed sewer rate from $3 to $4. That motion was carried. That'll be brought to council tonight. The next item, to review proposal tabulation to award a contract for snow removal for 2018-19 snow season. Proposal tabulation for snow removal was reviewed. The contract is used to clean certain public parking lots and neglected private sidewalks. After reviewing the proposal, we recommend to award the contract to Rowell's Auto Body and Snow Plowing, who has worked with us previously. They were also the lowest of 3 bids. That'll be brought to council tonight. The next item was the director's memo. Mr. Hirth reported on other projects that are already in project or beginning soon. We have nothing that we put on the next agenda. Meeting was adjourned at 5:03. I make a motion to adopt an ordinance to establish central garbage portion from North Water Street from Taft Park to Pearl Street.
I'll second it.
Okay, before any discussion on that ordinance, I think if you read through that, Dave?
Yeah, I second it. Oh, you made the motion?
Yeah, okay, as you read through that, it talks about garbage, refuse, a few other things like that. It does not mention recycling in there. I would like to, if we're going to go ahead with this, include recycling in the ordinance. I think we all intended to have recycling as part of that, but it was somehow or other left off in the wording of the ordinance. So I would ask that someone move to amend the ordinance to add the word recycling in there after.
I will do that.
I'll second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to amend the ordinance to add recycling into that. Now, is there any discussion on the amendment? Okay,
I brought it up to you.
yeah, thank you, Tom, for bringing that up. Appreciate it. Okay, please cast your ballots for the amendment. Motion carried 9-1, O'Connell voting no. Now, is there any discussion on the ordinance? John?
On the ordinance, it doesn't specify any specific locations for those 2 collection sites. And I don't think that it has to. This is just to make all of those efforts and planning and everything so that people can adhere and place them. And So this does not bar us from looking at other options to make that look better? I mean, frankly, I don't like the way it looks, but it doesn't bar us from working with veterans or anybody to put up a wall, arborvitae's, or if it doesn't work out, it doesn't keep us from not moving that ever in the future?
You are correct.
This is just a legal technicality that,
We will have central garbage pickup in that area, yes.
so this isn't the end of the conversation, this is just a formality of legal
Right.
matters to,
Correct.
okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Very good to bring that up. Thank you. Tom?
The central garbage thing is, the property owner has no property right to keep his garbage can on his own land. He has to get, he can't leave it on his land. That's what bothers me. He has nothing to say about it. Think about it.
Well, we've got lots of regulations as far as what you can put on your land and what you can't all over town, Tom, so, yeah. But yes, you're right. Okay, any other questions, discussions? Please cast your ballots. Oops, I'm sorry. You ready, Jackie? I am. Okay, please cast your ballots. Motion carried 9-1, O'Connell voting no. Okay, Mike,
I make a motion to adopt amendments to prohibit overnight camping on city parking lots or properties.
Second.
it has been moved and seconded to adopt the amendment to ordinance prohibiting overnight camping on city parking lots or properties. This is second final reading. Get ready, Jackie. Any discussion on that item? Please cast your ballots. All voting yes, motion carried.
I make a motion to amend the ordinance section, of the municipal code, to increase the base monthly fixed sewer rate from $3 to $4, to go in effect January 2019.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the ordinance amending section 13.124A, the user charge system of the municipal code, to increase the base monthly fixed sewer meter rate from $3 to $4 to go into effect January 1st, 2019.
Honor, I think I skipped one. So
Yeah, we'll take this one first.
Okay.
I noticed that.
Your eyes are better than mine.
Okay, is there any discussion on that item? Please cast your ballots. All voting yes, motion carried.
I make a motion to adopt the ordinance to limit parking to 4 hours on listed city parking lots. This is a second reading.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt the ordinance to limit parking to 4 hours on listed city parking lots. Be the second final reading. Any comments on that, Tom?
That means those that are on the list, they're not all on there, right?
Right, this covers, I
Let
can't,
somebody park on some of them if we want to.
yeah, I can't remember the, but it's like the swimming pool parking lot, the library parking lot. You know, the ones that we need to keep where we don't want residents permanently parking on them, basically. Yeah. Okay, please cast your ballots. All voting yes, motion carried.
I make a motion to approve the 2018-19 snow removal contract to Rawls Auto Body and Snow Plowing. They were the cheapest of 3 submitted bids.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the 2018-19 snow removal contract with Rowell's Auto Body for snow plowing in certain city lots and areas. Is there any discussion on that item? Please cast your ballots. All voting yes, motion carried unanimously.
And that is all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Barrington. Next, we move to Mr. Morak.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Finance and Personnel Committee met on Wednesday, November 7th at 4:30 PM in the council chambers.
Municipal Judge Laurie Shaw updated the committee on the New London Waiwega Municipal Court. Judge Shaw distributed a 2018 summary report that included total citations, number of trials, and active warrants. Laurie also discussed the court's use of the state collection programs to collect citations, including the Tax Refund Intercept Program, TRIP, and the statewide Debt Collection Program, SDC. The committee thanked Judge Shaw for the presentation and update. Police Chief Schlueter recommended amending the municipal code to include Section 9.46 to prohibit sexting. Motion was made by Zog and seconded by O'Connell to recommend to council amending the municipal code to include Section 9.46. Motion carried 4-0. Police Chief Schlueter recommended amending the municipal code to include Section 9.48 to prohibit vaping by minors. Motion was made by Zog and seconded by O'Connell to recommend to council amending the municipal code to include Section 9.48. Motion carried 4-0. The committee had a general discussion on the option of conducting a referendum for the mixed-use library and other riverfront development. It was the general consensus that a referendum was not needed at this time. Administrator Hager led a discussion on incentives, proposals, and options for the riverfront development, including tax credit housing proposal. A motion was made by Zog and seconded by Barrington to recommend to council that Administrator Hager and Mayor Hankey be given the authority to represent the city in the land sale verbiage appropriate to coincide with the residential and public use of the building. Motion carried 3-1 with O'Connell against. Motion was made by Barrington and seconded by O'Connell to recommend to council the approval of an ordinance adopting the 2019 city budget. The motion carried 4-0. The finance director's reports were reviewed. The city administrator's report was discussed. The December Finance and Personnel Committee meeting will be held on Wednesday, December 5th at 4:30 p.m. There was no public comment, and the committee adjourned at 5:23 p.m. Next, I would move that we waive the rules to adopt the 2019 budget ordinance in one reading.
Second.
Moved and seconded to waive the rules to adopt the 2019 budget ordinance in one reading. Is there any discussion on that item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next, I move that we adopt the 2019 budget ordinance.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the second. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the 2019 budget as an ordinance as presented. Is there any discussion on that item? Cast your votes, please. All voting yes, motion carried unanimously.
And I move we approve the ordinance to amend Section 9.46 of the Municipal Code to prohibit sexting. This is the first reading.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to amend Section 9.46 of the Municipal Code to prohibit sexting. This will be the first reading. Any comments on that? That's probably good. Please cast your ballots.
Fred hit her again.
Gotta hit the or no button first.
Your
All
Honor,
voting yes, motion carried.
Your Honor. According to the heading here, it's an ordinance, section 9.47, just to make sure we have the right number in that number, because the vote was 9.46.
That's correct. That was
I got 4-6.
on the agenda.
Where are you seeing 4-7?
Right?
It's on the resolution itself, the very top.
Oh,
Yeah, instead of 6, it says 7.
call the chief.
I would assume it's what's on.
We'll just correct it. Make a note.
Or 7.
Oh, it is, yeah. To add section 947. We already have 946, we have to add 947.
4-7.
Right, we are amending Section 9.46.
by.
Right.
Apparently by.
We're
adding-
amending 9.46 by adding 9.47.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, I just wanted to make sure we had the right numbers going.
Only a proofreader would have found that.
Oh, yeah. Top-notch English
Okay,
teacher
please
can figure
cast your
that out.
ballots.
Are we ready?
Oh, we're
to vote?
done?
Be picky.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Morak, go on.
All right. I move we approve the ordinance to amend section 9.48 of the municipal code to prohibit vaping by minors.
Second.
Moved and seconded to amend section 9.48 of the municipal code to prohibit vaping by minors. Is there any comment on that item? Please cast your ballots. All voting yes, motion carried.
I move we authorize Administrator Hager and Mayor Henke to represent the city in the land sale verbiage appropriate to coincide with the residential and public usage of the building for the downtown riverfront development.
Second.
Moved and seconded to authorize Administrator Hager and myself to represent the city in the land sale verbiage appropriate to coincide with the proposed downtown riverfront development. Is there any discussion on that item? Tom?
Who's gonna take title and in the sale?
Well, it depends on who we decide to give it or sell it, or,
So
Two.
you're gonna have you two are gonna have the whole say, it looks like.
no.
It'll be a letter. There'll be a letter of commitment to allow the applicant to go to the state to apply for the tax credit housing. And if they're awarded the grant, then we'll come back and there'll be a determination. In the case of Milwaukee, in a mixed-use development, the city actually deeded the property to the developer, and then
At
they
what time?
then they condominiumized the building, and the city got the first floor, and the balance of the upper floors went to the developer for multifamily housing. At what time? That'll be after the award of the grant.
Which is probably around April, sometime like that. We're just developing the verbiage so that the language that they can use to go to the state to apply for the grant, Tom.
They can't apply for the grant without having the land committed in some form where they.
Well, it's committed to a form to them. Nobody else could buy it.
Correct. Well, it could be leased. It's all up in the air at this point. I wish I could give you, I sincerely wish I could tell you exactly what's going to happen, but we don't know. And they're going to need to know between now and the middle of next month. So that's the problem.
And I think that once we develop that, we will share it.
Yeah,
I
they'll
mean,
come-
it's
they'll
not,
come
we're not gonna
back.
keep it a secret, Tom.
Then we won't own the land where the library is gonna be.
That's
Developer will own the
what-
library,
That's one scenario, yes, correct.
and then
Or
you'll
we
lease it
own,
back?
or we own the land and the developer doesn't own the land that he has his multifamily housing on. It's kind of one side of the coin or the other.
I don't agree with none of it. so.
Well-
We needed to have that commitment with, what's his name?
Randy.
Verizon.
Randy, last time, or we can't move forward, Tom. They have to have a commitment so they can go to the state and get, like Ken said, to apply for the grant. Otherwise, the other leg fell off the chair.
Yeah. Yeah, and we certainly don't wanna cut a leg short right now.
But then, does that mean that he's gonna have to buy all that land up there to tear down those buildings? They're on his plan.
We don't know if he's gonna tear down those buildings or not, Tom. That was a proposed, that was a preliminary sketch of what might be there.
Well,
It's not written in stone by any means, believe me. Okay, any other questions on that item?
thank you.
Please cast your ballots. You pushed absent, Tom.
God's sakes, your fingers are getting there, it's ready.
Absent.
Okay,
I vote yes.
you vote yes? Okay.
Wait,
All voting yes, motion carried unanimously.
can't change.
No, I can change my vote before the meeting's over.
Tom wants to vote no.
Tom, do you wish to change your vote to no?
Right.
Okay. Carried 9-1, O'Connell voting no.
And I move we approve the license list for November as presented.
Moved and seconded to approve the license list as presented. Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have for finance, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Morak. Next, we move to Park and Rec. Mr. Way.
Thank you, Your Honor. Parks and Recreation Committee met on Monday, November 5th, convened at 5:11 with the agenda adopted as presented. And up first was approval of the October 2nd meeting minutes, and that carried. So first on the agenda was the public comment relevant to items on the agenda. Tom Barrington and Belinda Hull with the New London Girls Softball Association addressed concerns of the conditions of the ball diamond fields at Memorial Park and future fundraising plans in hopes to upgrade the scoreboards on both diamonds. Next was a review of the closed captions study. A report prepared by the law firm of Bradley, Birkeland, Hagan, and Herbst, reviewing requirements for providing closed captioning services with the city's government access channel was presented. Chad summarized the report, stating that the city is required to provide closed captioning per FCC regulations, but may be required to provide some type of accessibility per ADA Title II regulations for those hearing disabilities, which could be fulfilled by providing closed captioning to the station's broadcasting. Compliance upgrades for these ADA regulations will need to be identified in a future ADA transition plan. Chad stated that the access channel's current media servers are about 10 years old and will need to be upgraded in the near future. At that time, it would be ideal to review and possibly include closed captioning capabilities with the upgrades. No action was taken on that item. Next was discussion on the replacement of the Senior Center Director's position. Kim Ebert has given the city her resignation effective at the end of 2018, and that the progress has started to be made on her replacement. Kim has reported that in the past few years, more attention has been required upon her from Wapaka County as the Meals and Wheels Nutrition Site Coordinator. She is compensated from the county for 3 hours a day and 5 hours per day from the city for senior programming. However, her county duties take at least 4 hours or more per day to complete. The senior programming has taken a hit as the county nutrition program has taken a large amount of the senior director's focus. Chad explained that the department will be separating the position from the county to ensure the proper amount of time is given to the senior programming. Also, no action taken on that item. Next was discussion and possible action on the future of the food pantry program. Another aspect of Kim's responsibility has been to oversee the food pantry program. City has been informed that beginning in December of 2018, the federal government will be substantially increasing the amount of commodities, and it's anticipated that the city could see 100 to 200 cases of food each delivery. This could create a burden for staff from picking up the commodities to the necessary record keeping for the program. Kim has reported that this responsibility also has increasingly become more time consuming and has reduced the amount of time for her to be able to focus on senior programming. Department staff has been evaluating the program and feels since there is another food pantry in the city, St. John's Food Pantry, a collaboration with this provider should be evaluated. St. John's Food Pantry is interested with this possible partnership, but many items need to be ironed out before a final recommendation can be presented to the committee. Under Director's Report, there were no questions regarding the monthly reports and statistics. Under years of service, Richard Johnson completed 32 years with the city as of October 5th, and Kim Arndt completed 16 years of service as of October 28th.
Ginger Aren't.
Oh, what did I say?
Kim.
Oh, thanks. Ginger, sorry. There was no chairman's report. Under committee report, there was none. No items at this time for next month's agenda, and the meeting adjourned at 5:47 PM. And there's no items on tonight's agenda.
Thank you. Planning Commission, Mr. Steinhorst.
We had no meeting in the month of October.
Okay, thank you. Now we move on to Economic Development Committee, Mr. Morak.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Economic Development Committee met on Tuesday, October 30, at 4:30 PM in the City Council chambers. Randy Stadtmiller from Stadtmiller and Associates presented a written update regarding the mixed-use development on the city riverfront property. Based on the most recent City Council action to proceed with planning for the mixed-use library project and development of the riverfront property, the following actions will have to occur. Prepare and receive an award of a Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority Senior Residential Tax Credit application. Successful implementation of the library fundraising campaign. Implement a tax increment financing district. Prepare and successfully complete a residential townhouse and condominium development financial plan. Prepare and successfully complete a commercial development financial plan, and prepare the master development site plan. The zoning for the area also has to be amended to accommodate the various planned uses. There was a discussion on the need for a possible referendum. It was determined that given how the project is proceeding, it is likely that a referendum is not required, but that the question regarding a referendum would be further considered at the next Finance and Personnel Committee meeting. Randy will proceed with a series of public meetings to better inform New London residents of the proposal. A number of questions were addressed by Randy. Jessica Beckendorf, Community Resource Development Educator with UW Extension, gave a presentation regarding the attraction and retention of young people in our community. Jessica reviewed a study that was undertaken by UW Extension that looked at several smaller communities in the state. The top communities who retain and attract younger people were focused on. One of those communities was Black Creek. They conducted 11 individual interviews of younger people in Black Creek. Main reasons young people chose to live in the smaller communities centered on proximity, convenience, retail, traffic, housing, and identity. Jesse went into detail regarding each of these topics. Jessica was thanked for her informative presentation, and the committee will continue discussing the attraction and retention of young people in the New London area at future meetings. A general discussion occurred on the implementation of the digital agenda format, which has replaced our hard copy agenda packet. It was agreed that everyone will work with a digital packet and no hard copies will be distributed in the future. Kent reviewed his recent activity. The billboard is in process. Both sides have been finalized and the committee reviewed the artwork. The next committee meeting will be held on Tuesday, November 27th at 4:30 p.m. There was no public comment and the meeting adjourned at 6:25 p.m. And that's all I have for economic development, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Morak. Next, you've got the minutes of the Housing and reports from the Housing Authority, Library Museum Board, Police and Fire Commission, Utility Board, Cemetery Superintendent, Building Inspector. Are there any questions or comments on any of those reports?
I guess I had a question on yours. The land downtown that we were talking about buying, were you planning on taking the money out of economic development?
No, the city made an offer, and there was a counter offer, which was declined.
Yeah.
So that was the end of the story on
But where
that.
was the money gonna come from if it went through?
We were going to decide that at the next council meeting.
Yeah.
It didn't go through.
But you should know where the money's coming before you ask the guy to do it.
We would have found it.
Out of the city treasury somewhere, Tom.
That's why we have budgets.
Yes, it is. And occasionally there are things come up that aren't budgeted for. That's why we have reserve funds, Tom. We don't budget for a tornado coming through town either, but by God, when one comes, we need to clean it up. And where do we get the money? Out of the reserve fund.
Buying a lot is different than a tornado. Thank you.
Okay, start out with reports of officers. I've got a proclamation tonight honoring Bob Pulaski. To all those present, let it be known that Bob Pulaski, dedicated employee and friend of the community, began his service to the city of New London in 1947 as an employee of the local Wisconsin Telephone Company, where he worked out of the New London office and traveled throughout the state until his retirement in 1986. And whereas Pulaski started life in 1928, born to Leonard and Mary at the original New London Hospital, and graduated from Washington High School in 1947, and a lifelong member of Most Precious Blood Catholic Church, Knights of Columbus, and the Men's Club. And whereas Bob served in the Korean War from 1950 to 52 and the reserves, achieving rank of Command Sergeant Major, a member of the American Legion, Norris Spencer Post 263 for more than 65 years, serving a record 14 times as post commander, and then served as 8th District Commander and Deputy of Wisconsin Vice Commander. And whereas Bob is a member of the VFW, Learman Schaller Post 2732, serving as commander twice, member of the AMVETS, Richard Zugi Post 45, and other veterans organizations. And whereas Bob was a member of many former New London organizations like the JCs and Coast Guard Auxiliary, current groups including Friends of the New London Public Museum, served the city for 44 years on the Police and Fire Commission, was the Grand Marshal of the Shamrock Club of New London Dublin Parade in 2010, whereas his avid enthusiasm for trains led him to join the New London Heritage Historical Society in 1986, serving as president for 30 years and bringing the C and Chicago Northwestern Depot to the Montgomery Street location. Bob spent years outfitting the depot with memorabilia, even personally funding the trains located on the adjacent tracks, the Chicago Northwestern Caboose and the 1940 Leona locomotive. I, as mayor of the city of New London, do recognize Bob Pulaski on his 90th birthday and his many contributions to the city of New London with a hearty thank you for his exemplary service to our community. Thank you. Next, we have comments from City Administrator, Mr. Hager.
Thank you, Your Honor. Congratulations, Bob. Didn't know he was 90. The mayor and I have been working on a letter to the governor about Highway 15. You know, that's been a long and drawn-out process. Hopefully, we're going to be able to get some more movement with the new administration, but who knows? But we're going to give it another shot and see what we can do with putting ourselves up front with the current governor again and our new governor-elect coming up in January. So we're giving it all we can, and anytime you see a state legislator, please remind them that Highway 15 project's very important for our community.
Yes, and also, I want to get that set. I've got the list of names. There are a number, if you look at the state representative and state senate map of between New London and Greenville, there are quite a number of people involved. Bob Coles from Green Bay,
Towken,
Towken, Murphy, Roth, yeah. There are quite a number of them involved, and we need to send that letter to all of them, including a person representing Kaukauna who has been able to hold back that item.
Heineke,
Yes, thank you.
he's been a real, well, I can't say.
Please, this is a council meeting, Fred.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, we have to watch our language. So, hopefully, and I would encourage any citizens listening, particularly if any of you make any political contributions to either party. Call that person in office and tell them, we want Highway 15, we want it now. Just a week or so ago, another woman was killed over on Highway 15 and Manley Road. I mean, it's, and there are gonna be more, you know that. I mean, what's a life worth? Come on. And if, your representative happens to tell you that it's awfully, it's awfully expensive to go through the swamp around Hortonville. I went, yeah, would a bridge be cheaper? I mean, come on, people. So, anyway, it's gotten pretty political, but we're also sending it to Governor Walker and to Governor-elect Evers. So, thank you, Ken. Next, City Attorney, Mr. Lewaters.
I have nothing in particular to discuss tonight, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Thompson, our Utility Manager.
Thank you, Your Honor. Our electric crew pulled in new three-phase primary to the Dollar General project. We got the cables in the ground now, waiting for a wall so we can actually put the service in. Crews, both my electric and water departments are working on AMI metering installations. We have received construction authority from the Public Service Commission for a southeast substation rebuild, which is near Tyson, and we also have one for well 8, which is the replacement of well 4 on Oshkosh Street. Both these projects will be done in 19. We do have going on at the utility an LED holiday light giveaway, either a colored or clear strands of light. You can get up to 2 strings if you bring in 6 items for the food pantry. And we put a flyer out in our building this year, and I already have 4 grocery carts completely full. So by our December meeting, I hope to have more, and then we'll also have a check for the community cupboard as well. We are waiting for electricians to get some house services mounted on some houses for the McHugh Housing Project off of Northridge. We're waiting for Quick Trips to come in and start staking their modifications to Quick Trip North. They're going to begin that project on December 17th. We were hoping to get some of our power work done prior to that. So hopefully, in any case, they build 12 months a year, so we will be accommodating as we can. Going back to LED lighting, we have done all of Shawano Street from Broad Street North. We also have done LED lights on Division Street. Continue to work on that over the next 3 years. Hope to have the whole city converted to LED, which uses about 1/3 of the energy that the high-pressure sodium does. So we have a rate for that. We have been lowering your power bill to me. And the final thing I have is I have our pilot payment, which is payment in lieu of taxes, in the amount of $723,228 to give you at the end of the meeting. So our contribution to the city budget.
Thank you. We're certainly glad you could make the meeting tonight. We appreciate it. Okay, next we have, pardon, Tom?
The savings in this electricity, is that gonna lower the city's power bill on those lights?
Yes, it does. It reduces
Yes.
it by 2/3.
Yes, it will.
Thank you.
Okay, next our Director of Public Services, Mr. Hirth.
Thank you, Your Honor. First off, if you're interested in a part-time job, like Chairman Way talked about from Parks and Rec Committee, Kim Ebert has given us a recommendation, so we are opening up a Senior Center Program Manager position. Position is a part-time position, working 20 hours a week. If you're interested, if anybody out there in New London is interested in that, you can start by going to the city's website and then looking into the Human Resources page. Closing date for submitting those applications are on December 2nd. Recreation side, we have open gym starting at the Washington Center for the season. It's going to be on Fridays, 5:30 to 8:30, Saturdays, 9:30 to 1:30. There's a $4 fee that can be paid at the door, and it's just an open gym. You can come up and play pickup games in the gym at that time. We also have registration soon will be opening for the 2018 Reindeer Dash. This is a 1-mile run before the Holiday of Wonder Parade. It's going to be on Friday, December 7th. Check-in is going to be at 4:30 and the race starts at 5:30. Prizes will be given out for the most creative holiday outfits. So if you're interested in that, we don't have it quite on the website in our ActiveNet registration site yet, but that should be in there soon. So you can register online or call us up or stop in the office and we can help you with that. Street side, we're still working on picking up leaves. I know we've had a lot of phone calls recently saying that my leaves are out, but it's past my zone and my time. We're still working on that. We've had a lot of leaves fall down just in the last couple weeks, so we've had 2 crews out trying to go as quickly as we can. If you're not, we'll continue with it, and we'll probably get everything up. It doesn't look like the snow's coming quite yet, so we should be able to get everything up before that happens, but we're still out there. A couple crews still working on that. And then we're also trying to get the word out that if you have a sump pump that is pumping into the street, we do allow that during the summer months, but once it starts freezing this time of year, that sump pump discharge can start freezing onto the streets, and that's creating a hazard, and that is a violation of the ordinance. So if you do have a sump pump that's pumping into the street somewhere, you do need to remove it, put it on your lawn somewhere, because we cannot have that ice build up on the streets and create a hazard. So that would be in violation of the ordinance. So now's the time of year that we do need you to move it back into your yard. And then in the spring, you can once again move it into the street once we don't have that freezing issue going on. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, Chief of Police, Mr. Schleter.
Thank you, Your Honor. We had one anniversary, Earl Ruckdaschel, 28 years. And then it's winter time again, so I just want to remind everyone about our winter ordinance for parking. No parking on the roads from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. And that has started already, along with the cold weather. So make sure we take our cars off the road at night. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And finally, our Fire Chief, Mr. Wilfer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tonight I have 3 service anniversaries. Ted Coppersmith, 14 years, Jake Dishno, 10 years, Tyler Stray, 10 years. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dave.
As council president, last Sunday was Veterans Day. I believe we have 5 veterans on this council, and I would like to thank all of you for your service. And also the veterans, any veterans in the audience, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any other business come before council tonight?
I move to adjourn.
It's been moved to adjourn? And seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.